Good morning. My name is Andrii Cherin. Today I will tell you about services of transformation of sets of geospatial data of address registry. And this is one of the major problems because it's the basis for tying up all the other data, because the other data contains the address. And now we have more than 10 dozens of independent existing address registers in different authorities. So I will tell you more now about technical aspects. And my presentation corresponds to today's presentations. So next slide. So I have a technical presentation. I will tell you about the framework within which this development of address register was taken place, took place in 2022-2023. You understand under what conditions the work was done. The register have to function online completely. It should be full automatization of all processes, maximum verifications, checks, and getting the
В цілому база даних містить більше 100 мільйонів записів.
information, speed of the work, because one database of address register contains more than a French register at all. The use of open source technologies, strict requirements to the process of development, GIT and all the others. The environment was opened with the
Я детальніше про це трошки розкажу, але коротко.
Contractor, it was the DIA environment, the Inspire, harmonization with Inspire, which contains the maximum exchange file, integration with EDSB, integration with existing systems, and transfer to the single API. So, services of transformation, it's not one. So, in the process of address register creation, there were many interesting processes with the use of GIS technologies, matching of existing databases in the incoming at the input. So you build databases on East, AMS, IMS, import of vector local data. They
Відповідно, у всіх були кабінети.
Uploaded the existing address registers, departments online, transformation of coordinates. They were different. Then import of raster data. The major map is cartographic basis in the scale of 1 to 10,000, but the local authorities were able to use their own services, but most of them don't have portals. They were uploading their maps and existing data to get more fresher
20-22 рік. Автоматичні перевірки, формування.
Automatic verification. Now we get to how it looks like. The first transformation is matching of existing databases. You see here the request from the database. Yesterday there was statistics on streets, about 400, 300 streets, 1,000 streets. And I'm giving statistics on addresses. It's 8 million addresses, various data from various registers. All these, the names of the streets didn't match. Sometimes same street had different names. So there was certain
вже зведено
transformation, and we have the consolidated single register of streets and addresses, and you see opposite every this name there is whether it's present or not in the register. Green is present, red is absent, and there are other checks the presence of geometry. So where the address, whether the address was verified or not, so it was done automatically. So the instruments with which LMS work, they enter and import their data, existing data. There is a full exhaustive list of metadata on all data, system of coordinates, name, coverage, the relevant questionnaire is filled in, and then the data very quickly is transformed, and there is online instrument which
також відбувається імпорт растрових даних. Ви бачите, це так само.
This is the import of raster data. This could be 100 megabytes or dozens of megabytes. So in the online, the data is uploaded and immediately it is reflected on the portal. This was done in the microservice. This doesn't load the major.
Відбувається трансформація координат, і в нас, по суті...
And in fact, we did a lot of research on the precision of transformation. We had two chains of transformation. That is scenario CK42, CK63. We transform them to CK63DL. Then we filled other fields, transform them to another, and then we transform everything either into EGS or into the local system of coordinates, another chain of without transformation field. This is the instrument of verification. This is the crowd technology. From Finland spoke about 3D. This is also 3D. You can also see it on the left. You see the register of status with verification of streets and addresses, and also here is a lot of very interesting instruments which allow to simplify the process of verification. So here we have vector data of State Committee for Statistics, GSM and Bing. You may import from other registers information to fill and additionally the address register. There is a multi-select instrument where you could drag certain objects, and also there is the work and data of LMS. These layers which were additionally uploaded, allow them to work with their maps and their ortho plans. So another important instrument is verification of data. Here we see 4 rules, but they can change. In fact, what is verification of data? This means verification as a request to database. Instrument consists of verification. It may be used for many others. It could be used for various situations. So that number is a request which verifies whether this number meets the requirements, and the Cyrillic letters are used for other purposes. This from Geospatial. If you know, now we introduce identificator of the construction object. So if we already have a building introduced, then we have the address register. It's not a point, it's a certain territorial register which can be with which very many other operations could be conducted. So it's a full scale address register.
Будинки, які там, наприклад, далеко знаходяться від вулиці. Ну, це вже ясно, що вони неправильно там прив'язані.
Well,
Таких
it's obvious that they are not properly tied up. So it's very easy to use this system and to form the situation on your own. Taking
сформовані.
into account that there were mistakes, and you make a request to the database, and then the user will be able to correct and adjust it in the context of a certain area, a street, or what have you. This is a very handy instrument which makes it possible for users to deal with a number of issues. Then we have certain extractions about validation, about registers, register of the territory, and also each community has a number of settlements, and all that data on the settlements was downloaded, and a document is formed, and it is signed by digital signature of proper authorities, and it is kept in the database with a proper official status. All the previous registers, including the register of damaged buildings and the register of property rights, now are united in the API of a single register. We also initiated Inspire API. You see an example of a request to this system, which makes it possible to use a part of address and to get what you need to do. Normally people do this through Google, but Google doesn't have such a broad database of addresses in Ukraine, whereas this system is much more comprehensive. What I showed you by way of example for verification was related to the city of Lutsk in Ukraine. There was a lot of very interesting situations as we carried out that exercise. You can see a complete set of documents for a system. A number of training sessions were run, so the users don't have many issues using the system, and all these instruments become very down-to-earth practical tools which are very customer-friendly and which do not require additional training. Briefly about the improvements that we've introduced, which makes it possible to work with 100 million signatures, entries rather. We've analyzed all the previous experience. The database is an instrument which, without proper application, does not work. You can have a database for 10 entries, and if it is not properly done, it will not operate. That requires all necessary indexes, GIS tables, and all the rest. But we didn't invent the wheel here, because there's a lot of international experience there. Plus, there is a master-slave technology which makes this thing much easier. and there's a vector tile technology, which makes it possible to work with vectors and to work with millions of objects. For the first time, you can deal with millions of entries without you can seamlessly work with all those components. Microservice gRPC, which deal with large local data transformation fields, the service of signature. All this is included in microservices. So what are the conclusions that we can briefly make? Ukraine can carry out these kind of projects. We even have some expertise to share with our foreign partners. This solution, in terms of resources, well, previously we spoke about registers which cost billions, but here we're talking millions, not billions, which is way cheaper than what was the case before, just because the data were qualitatively processed and automated, and that made it possible to create a primary basis, and then through the use of online services, we managed to come up with a fully fledged GIS toolbox, which can even be supplemented on a regular basis through constant updates. All the operations are carried out as fast as possible, and some services can be used in other projects as well. There are documents to that effect. We can give you links and you can get familiarized with them. All those issues are contextualized for our national environments, and they're very much operational. Thank you for your attention.